Hunter Biden, for whatever reason, has agreed to a 3 hour long interview of which he attacks the president, claims 6 years of sobriety, defying all physics, and also has a bunch of theories as to why Joe Biden would have actually beat Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. Let's get into all that and more now. Clip one.
White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm Emanuel. So smart, Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that appealed to those white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes.
So, as you can see here, number one, hairline's looking really rough. Also, he's got a disgusting lisp. Is it veneers? But basically, he's defending Biden, claiming that the only reason why he lost is because the people in the Democratic Party were not loyal enough to him, which is basically like saying the only reason why Germany fell in World War II was because the generals weren't loyal enough to Adolf. As we all know, Joe Biden's weakest position in the 24 election, and Kamala's too for that matter, was the scourge of illegal immigration and the open border policy that led to that. Hunter Biden here is defending it on its merit, believe it or not.
Able to get him back. What about all those other people? Am I not supposed to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance?
Look, to be honest, number one, that is the most stereotypical, like privileged white country club position of, oh, where's Consuela? Who's going to clean my toilet? I'm not going to do it. And while he does kind of have a point that illegals obviously do the undesirable jobs, it's still very demeaning, kind of shows this condescending, kind of benevolent racism of expectations, or low expectations rather. Those talking points aside, though, I do see what he's saying in that he's obviously kind of, he respects these workers because unlike him, they actually work. And again, they break the law, but so does Hunter Biden, to be fair. And yeah, these illegals cross the desert and they do work 60 hours a week or whatever, which is something that Hunter Biden has never done. Never done.
And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals? White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime.
That is insane. Now, this is probably the main reason why I think that him claiming 6 years of sobriety doesn't make sense. I mean, I could be 20 beers in, not that I have been, but I could really be 20 drinks in and still be more logical than him, because how the hell could anybody within the right mind say that white men are 40 times more likely than other races to commit violent crimes? That is actually like stupid as hell. Come on, are you kidding me?
Than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. So fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 80.
Okay, so he's saying that Joe Biden, of all people, challenged white nomenclature. He challenged the white zeitgeist and then made them be pro-brown illegal alien invasion. That makes no sense. This is more Biden narcissism. And if you read enough about the Bidens, you'll realize that they're these blue-collar white people of yesteryear with a chip on their shoulder because they're inferior and they weren't let into the country clubs with the WASPs, right? They're Irish. So that's an important wrinkle. Obviously, nowadays, you see most white people is just white. Most people, especially Mexicans, can't distinguish between a Polish person, an Italian. But back then, especially Joe, 60 years ago, grew up in this time where white ethnicities were pretty prevalent and, you could distinguish them easily in the East Coast. And that being said, these Bidens, and this was in part on Hunter too, they feel like they're left out. That's why when he says Rahm Emanuel, he says effing Emanuel. Oh, he's so smart, because he feels lesser than. And so they have this inferiority complex. And Biden appealing to white people was more on the basis that he was an old white guy and people just assumed he wasn't going to let everybody in because they were just generalizing. But that kind of just proves the antithesis of what he was saying.
81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants.
That's also really stupid. So you're saying my dad, who's the president representing these transgender folk, don't even know what they're going through, but he's empathetic. Number one, that makes you look like a sissy. Number two, what kind of leadership is that? If I'm going to defend someone, I'll say, look, I understand you are black. I can understand this. You're minority. Okay, you can understand that. To say I don't understand your sexuality at all, but I'll protect it on the basis of, well, what? That you're a Democrat, that's it? So Hunter Biden would be Basically, if the culture were different and everybody was anti-trans, then they wouldn't care. So what they're implying here is that they just go with what the wind blows. Basically directionless.
Then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what.
What? Hey, our Democratic Party, led by Hunter Biden, praise be upon him, is going to lead the charge. We're not going to lower inflation. We're not going to cut the debt. What we're going to do is we're going to fight for taxpayer flights from El Salvador back here. All you criminals, MS-13, come back. That's what he's saying.
If I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now,
God forbid,
or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a
okay, and you're not a cokehead. This just sounds like a cokehead. Oh, you don't appease me? I'm going to blow you apart. Are you kidding me? What?
And say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing.
Okay. All right, so some of us have been waiting like literally 5 to 6 years on how the hell this laptop came around. As Donald Trump likes to call it, the laptop from hell. So apparently Hunter was asked about this for the first time in a long time.
I literally have no memory of ever dropping my laptop off there, okay? This guy swears that I did, okay? Regardless, to your point, okay? This is Wilmington. That laptop repair shop is in Trolley Square. I had family that owned a business that was literally the opposite side of them. There are literally within a stone's throw of where that person is, in a very, very small community, at least a dozen people directly related to my family. Every night he used to go to 2 or 3 different bars in which he could have literally turned and talked to anyone and said, do you know how to get in touch with Hunter?
You're talking about the laptop
repair shop guy.
Okay, so for context, Hunter Biden presumably drugged up as hell in 2020, leaves his laptop to be repaired, forgets it exists. Like, I guess he waits weeks. And then the guy obviously at the store is like, well, this guy's never going to pick it up. And he probably knows, oh, this is the guy who's vice president or whatever. So then he goes through it and he leaks it on the internet, which you could complain about the ethical code to that, but still. Now, what Hunter does, which is actually unsurprising to anybody who's been following his life story of crack abuse, but he blames other people. So instead of saying, damn, maybe I shouldn't have been on drugs the whole time, and then I might have remembered that I'm missing my own fucking laptop. Who forgets their laptop, by the way, for more than 6 hours? Besides the point. So it's his fault because he didn't contact my cousin or something. Okay.
Somehow that doesn't happen. But somehow this guy, who's supposed to be repairing a laptop, he says, decides what he's going to do is he's going to review the material, and what he sees is he thinks is evidence of a crime.
McIsaac says he also found...
Yeah, because soliciting prostitution in different countries and doing schedule 3 drugs, that's not illegal.
Documents that show payments made to Hunter Biden from a Ukrainian energy company that have become the center of a political firestorm.
More emails from Hunter Biden's laptop keep surfacing.
I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is.
Let's get the truth. What's in this laptop?
Now again, the evidence he thinks is of a crime is my drug use. He thinks it's embarrassing. And all of a sudden, who ends up with my laptop? The one person in that moment in time that had more to gain than anyone else.
I got the hard drive legally, completely legal.
Okay, so then who got the Access Hollywood tapes that also made Trump look like a predator in 2006? Well, if they stood to gain, okay, does it make it any less true? Okay, now this is not a criminal pursuit. This is not something that, oh, I'm going to expunge the evidence because of it. It's like, no. This is the court of public opinion. The media covered up the fact that the contents of the laptop were legit. I saw them actually 5 or 6 years ago in high school, and they got swept up in the internet as soon as it came out. Basically, is what happened, and that totally swapped the election results. Whatever you think about whether or not it was rigged or whatnot, obviously I'm of the opinion that the president was mostly right about that. I do believe also that even with that being said, even if they did all that, they still would have lost because the laptop in and of itself was really a deal breaker for at least some fraction of Biden voters, for sure.
That had more to gain than anyone else.
I got the hard drive legally.
Okay, well, who took the laptop? How did the laptop disseminate it? Was it really a laptop? Because it really isn't, by the way. Here's another anomaly of this. There really isn't a laptop. There's a hard drive. And then there's an amalgamation.
What? Okay, so Schrodinger's Hunter's laptop. Well, it wasn't even a laptop, Your Honor. What?
Of a hard drive. There's an original hard drive that he says he has, and he argues with everybody else who says that there are like 400 gigabytes more that were added onto that from the dark web.
You never got
what?
A laptop before you wrote that story, did you?
That's correct.
You got a hard drive.
Hard drive.
And you received that hard drive from Rudy Giuliani, right?
Yep.
Okay. Who had been openly associating with an agent of Russian intelligence in the months leading up to your story. You agree with that, right?
Seems
yes.
unrelated.
So you think the repair shop story is made up?
I don't know, but all I know is that whatever this amalgamation of stuff is came from a whole host of different sources.
Yeah.
Because you can look at it now.
So
and
what?
The stuff that who thinks this is right? Who thinks it's right that every picture that you've ever taken, the ones that you would be embarrassed by and the ones that you would be proud of, should be on a website controlled by a guy that is a Christo-fascist fucking incel that lives in Indiana or Illinois?
Who would have thought of the day the president's son is saying the term incel? That being said, again, it's literally just all co-op. Like it's really easy for me to just point it out, but you're again not taking any accountability aside from like the in passing. Oh, I was a drug addict, shameful. Oh, it's like yeah, but you're not really recalcitrant now, are you? And are you sober, Hunter? I doubt it. In addition to this, again, calling the other person ad hominem, just like oh, this guy's he's a loser, he's an incel. That doesn't change the fact that what was on the hard drive was in it. And you could blame, oh my God, well, it helped Trump. Okay, yeah, so what? And?
Illinois, I forget which one.
Let's hope Indiana, because it's worse.
But really, who comes up with a 435-page dossier about all the crimes that it details? But literally, it just is it is an entire fiction that makes money off of. Who thinks that's right? And so,
Okay, well, if it was all fake, then why? Okay. So what is the narrative here? So is Hunter saying that it wasn't even a laptop; it was a hard drive. That there's a second hard drive also with 400 gigabytes. And, like you see how there's so many conflicting points on both sides of this argument. And either way, just take that all aside because it's fogging up my brain. I will say that I mean it's kind of obvious that there is something wrong in it when you can see the pictures are there. This was before AI was really a thing. But also, in addition, Joe Biden, when asked about it, would obfuscate and not be honest about it. Had they just said, hey, by the way, this is shameful stuff, but this is unrelated to leading America, then you'd have an argument as to like, okay, these MAGA people are nosy. But instead, you just lied and gaslit everybody. And that's why Joe Biden was president, basically. It was a king-making factor. All right, this is the best clip, and I saved it for last.
opinions, but fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times to
Okay, so George Clooney is not entitled to writing his opinion on an article. Because if you're friends with Joe Biden, you're not allowed to criticize him. Okay.
Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who've been dining out on the relationship with him for
Okay, so I can't imagine how Obama does not get pissed off at Hunter just lighting up all of his lackeys.
years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40-50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times.
Delaware's not hard to win, okay? That's like if I gave a ton of credit to Strom Thurmond for winning South Carolina so many times, or somebody in Montana winning over and over again.
How to pass more legislation than any president in history. How to have a better
Yeah, but the problem is that half of the legislation is going to be retconned by Democrats nowadays, like the 94 crime bill, any sort of like deficit reduction package.
midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run, and they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper?
my mom or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real though, I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
Because by the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news, and beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
So again, historic crash out by Hunter Biden. You love to see it. Fantastic, honestly. Just torching everybody down in the name of what exactly? Ego, defending his dad, which is by extension himself. And it accomplishes what exactly? Just muddies the water, cannibalism, inner Democrat fight. I love it. You love to see it. Pain and suffering for these guys for another 3.5 years, and we're in for it. Buckle up. Anyways, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.